There we go. I think we're up and running. We'll see. I've never done this before. Anybody who happens to be on right now, hello. I've actually got YouTube on one side and TikTok on the other. Breaking new ground here. We'll see how this goes. I figure I'll play a few tunes and then answer any questions, that kind of stuff. We'll see what happens. Playing the old Terry McGee flute that I got back from the shop here not too long ago. Tunes off of our first full record anyway. There's a third one after that, which I think I've probably played on my channel about 100 times. Let's see if we got any questions to answer here. Apologies if I have to like bump cameras and such. I'm going to try to keep the nausea to a minimum. I have a wooden flute that no keys. I need help in spacing my fingers since they don't cover. Yeah, finger spacing. I hear you. Couple of options. Got the full flute. Try the Piper's grip. Yeah, for those who don't know, Piper's grip is this kind of deal. I've not found that to work for me on the flute. I like the fingertips. There's really nothing for it other than just trying to find a position here, probably with your thumb to get this bit comfortable. It is a bit of a stretch. You definitely don't want it to hurt, but you know, good seal and good like slow, long note. Just nice long notes, particularly on the bottom hand. I assume that's where the stretch is. If it's the top hand, you've got a couple of different options. I kind of go like this. This angle probably isn't ideal, I guess, but it's just the way you do it, and you kind of get used to it. There are folks who play across and more of a flat option. That might work better too. I don't know. Try it and see. Let's see. How do I do this without making everybody... All right, the holes, unfortunately. Okay, if you don't cover the holes, they do make smaller hole flutes, by the way. That's another option too. My one that's in the case here that I'm going to be oiling shortly here definitely has smaller holes, and going back to the old flute has felt odd, to be honest, even though I played this thing for 20 years. Howdy from southwest of Australia. Hey, wicked. Boy, y'all are up early, man. 3 a.m. Well, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate that. That's very cool. Holiday live stream. Yes, indeed. Hope everybody had a good holiday. Mine was very chill. I did a lot of videos. That's mostly what I did. Hung out with my mom. Netherlands. What's up, Netherlands? Very cool. Man, all right. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm glad y'all are showing up. I've never really done this before. I think I did it briefly once on TikTok for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. And I've done a couple of like live concerts that were managed and handled by somebody else. So I've not really had to do this. Hopefully it's not terrible. Hopefully it works. I would play the Windward just because I've gotten it out of the case here and I kind of like to. Very different feel. That was a reel that I used to do in an old band way back when, and there's a jig version of it. I can't remember the names of either of those tunes, but there's like a really cool morphing thing you can do because it's basically the same tune. Let's see, because something you learn so much from your videos. Hello from Canada, what's up? That was a Canadian flute. Canada well represented here. This is from Nova Scotia, this windward. It's delightful. Small question, if I may, can't play a couple of tunes on the bare bones. I'm a bit lost on how to start implementing ornaments. Yeah, that's really the $64,000 question. That's the one that's mostly dependent on listening and kind of absorbing this music and hearing these tunes not just as a sequence of notes, but rather hearing it. That way, it's just kind of baked in. So there's really nothing for that other than just doing a lot of listening. In the meantime, or concurrently, I should say, there's a couple of like tricks, I guess, not rules, but things that you can sort of use as a starting point. Anytime you see 3 eighth notes in a row, back and forth like that, or literally 3 in a row, optionally a good spot for a roll there. Easy substitution there. So those are some spots that you can hopefully copy and paste and be on the lookout for in other tunes, because that sort of phrasing pops up a lot. And so that's really what comes down to is you run to these quarter notes or long held spots and you start thinking, what sort of substitutions can I make there? And trial and error. That's also your friend as well. If you're doing requests, can we get Morrison's? Yeah, I haven't done Morrison's in forever. Let's see. I don't want to leave anybody hanging here. Sorry. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. I can't read this. Sorry for shaking the camera, y'all. Apologies. Okay, I think we're good. Morrison's jig. I'd have to look that up, I think, but is it? Yeah, I think that's it. So. haven't played that in forever. Hopefully that was at least in the ballpark of what you were looking for. Bit of odds and ends there thrown in. St. Anne's Reel. Wow, that's another one I haven't played. I used to play in an old Irish rock band many thousands of years ago, and that was one that we tacked on. St. Anne's is one of those kind of weird ones that's a crossover tune between old time and Irish world. I guess it's originally an Irish tune. What is your method for ornamentation on B? All right, I'll remember that. I'll come back to it. I'll blast away with St. Anne's Reel, which I like because on the flute, because I need the key. I need the G sharp key. That's got a bit of a wonkiness here. Massive help for me over there. Cheers. Thank you. Well, thanks for jumping in, James. Cheers. All right, St. Anne's Reel. Here we go. You got to remember it here. Let's say. That B part is wonky, and I have not done that in way too long. That's one that just for some reason doesn't come up around here, despite being in the home of old time and bluegrass music. Just doesn't seem to show up in the sessions. Ornamentation on B, right? So tin whistle and flute is a bit different, just because of the angle. But on the whistle, large movements, big, dumb, slow movement, big movements. The point being that when you are practicing slowly, you've got time to do the big movements, and when you're playing up tempo, you don't. So if you can practice it big, it's naturally going to compress, but it still will sound properly when you're playing at tempo. So like for a cut, and then a tap, again, big movements, and then the roll. Then you've also got this other kind of wonky bagpipey ornament that I've probably demonstrated in a video. I don't know if I've ever done like a full breakdown on, but cannot remember what it's called in the bagpipe world, but it goes like this, going from A to B. So it's sort of like a double cut beat kind of thing. So I go and slower movements there. And then up tempo. It's got a real cool, rippy, punchy kind of thing. So a bit of a more advanced one, but one you might throw in the times that it shows up. So where we got here? When I was playing trad-session bluegrass for a bit, hearing that, depends on where you are. You might get more or less old time bluegrass, jazz. I mean, who knows what crossover showing up at your session. So you never really know what's going to happen. But I don't know a thing about bluegrass and old time music. So when those tunes show up, I go, okay, cool. I'll just sit here and chill and enjoy it quietly, which I have no problem doing. Okay. How about the Silver Spear? Okay, I can get to that one. No worries. Love specifically because it's a crossover. Yeah. There's a couple of those crossover tunes. Miss Monaghan's, Miss somebody's, Miss McLeod's. That's another good crossover one. I don't know why some do and some don't. Cooley's Reel, Wind That Shakes the Barley. I'd have to look up Wind That Shakes the Barley. I can't remember that one. Wind That Shakes the Barley. Okay, well, I'll see if I can sort that out. Sorry, I don't want to leave everybody hanging here. What do we got? I have co-hosts now. I'm going to I don't know how this works. Okay. I have no idea how these comments work. Excuse me. Hopefully I'm not missing anything here. Right, so what do we got here? Silver Spear. Let's sort out that. Silver Spear and Cooley's. Let's see if I can remember Cooley's. When should I play that on? Let's try it on this. Cooley's is an A. Is that Cooley's? I think that's it. Let's try that. See if that's Cooley's. is totally not Coolies. I don't know what that is. Hang on a second. Let me find what Coolies is. This, for those not in the know, is very often how these sorts of things go. Somebody says, do you know that tune? I go, I have no idea. Let me look it up. Or how does it go? Let's see. Let's see if I can sort this out here. Right, that's that one. Okay, now we're back in the game. Okay, so Coolies and a silver spear. Let's see what we can do here. Tune I just played. Yeah, that there's a little variation that I got in that Silver Spear tune. I was at a session in New York, probably about 2018 or so, and it was a ripping session. It was awesome. And I was sitting next to a fiddle player who did that little kind of like really cool walk down lick, and I was like, I'm having that. I'm going to borrow that for sure. It's cool. Can you play the Glory Reel? Ooh, I don't know if I know the Glory Reel. I remember that name. Boy, I don't know if you'd want me to hear that. I'd have to look it up, and I don't think I played that properly. Seems like I looked that up a while back. Shebeg Shemor. That one I can definitely sort out. I've got a flash goal. TikTok, I have no idea what that means. Thank you for that, but I have no idea what that means. Shebeg Shemor. In fact, I'm going to play that on my F whistle, which for y'all, if I heard me say this before, this is my very favorite whistle. This is from Gary Humphrey. Rest in peace. Sadly lost him a few months back. But my very favorite whistle, hardly ever get to play it. It's just got a really nice, chill, mellow sound. So, Such a great classic tune. There's a wicked version of that on a band called D Shawl, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly because I do not speak Irish, sadly. The record, I think, was called The Long Notes or The Long Drop, perhaps. Old record by now, in the 90s, I think, came out. Really cool version of that, and I've done my best to lift as many of those ornaments as I could. Let's see. Hey, from Philly. Oh, what's up, Philly? I was just in Philly when was that? August, I think. We did a couple of gigs with a group called Fouillon, a local band up there who was really cool. Had some good times with them. Really good tunes. Had a session afterwards. Played the Plow and the Stars, I believe was the name of it. Really cool spot. Hopefully a place we get back to. I would love to. Cool. All right. So what am I missed here? Sorry. Say hi to me, please. Hi, Super Joel. What's up, man? Thank you for your comments. I've seen a bunch of your stuff. Appreciate the ideas for videos. It's all cool stuff. Let's see. So what else are you saying? Hands really when the shakes the bar. Yeah, I have to look that one up again. Do I cover any McSherry or McGoldrick tunes? Yeah. In fact, the McSherry McGoldrick record was a really influential one on me. My favorite McGoldrick tune he was cool enough to chat with me about a little bit. It's just called McGoldrick's. I learned it from a box player named John Redmond in New York when I was up visiting over the summer, and he played it. And I only got the A part, and it rattled around in my head for 6 months until I could get back there. And I said, dude, you got to break it down for me. And so he jotted it down in ABC notation, and I learned it. So let's see if I can play it properly. Such a cool tune. I love how it switches between the D major and B minor and all that. It's got that really cool run up. When I had learned that tune from my buddy John on the accordion, I got him to write out the notes, and I went home and learned it. And then about a year or two ago, Michael McGoldrick was visiting my friends at the Lear Whistle Company. And I said, hey, if you're there, ask him the name of this tune, because I never knew what it was called. And so I sent a recording of it, and he replied with a video saying that it was just called Michael McGoldrick's. And here's how it actually goes, because I had missed a bit. So it was kind of cool to get schooled by the master, which is very wicked. Let's see what we got here. Cover name, got that question. You have to tap for the note directly. From me cut from the note directly though. If that's going to have sounding. Let's see. Sorry, I got to stop mumbling and actually read this. Tap from the note directly. Playing cuts seem to come from the thing up. Yeah, I have a bit of a. Well, I don't know if it's a weird way of doing cuts. I have my way of doing cuts, and I think I'm not the only one. But there's multiple ways to do it. One way is to do a cut by always using the finger immediately over the note that's being played. So if you're playing an E, cut with that finger. That works. It just didn't make sense to me. I cut everything that I can with this finger here. And then when I go up the scale, I cut with the top finger. Use that one for just this, and then the bottom hand or just this finger for the bottom hand. And it just made logical sense to me. I would advise you to try that, see if it works, try the other way. But I would say probably go with whichever one makes the most sense quickly and commit to it and just lock it in. I don't think it really matters. Nobody's going to be able to tell the difference. As long as they're nice and quick and punchy and they do the job, I don't think it really matters what finger you use. That's my take. What do I use each flute for? I use them all for all the same stuff. These three here, hopefully you can see that. They're all in D. Then I've got my awesome brand new J hand flute, which is still in the case. That's in D as well. I've got a C flute that I'll use for specialty stuff. But when I'm playing gigs, now that I have it, this is the flute that goes with me. The rest of these stay at home. This was the flute that I toured and played gigs with and did sessions with for about 20 years or so. It's still awesome, and I'm hanging on to it, obviously, in case I ever, God forbid, need a backup. But it's pretty much the J-Ham now everywhere I go. The other ones I just do for the socials because they're fun to play and they're great instruments, and I don't want them just sitting here collecting dust. So I do play them, but not on the road. Could drop the name of the band you mentioned. Yes, I can. D-Shall. D-I-E-S-E-A-D-E-I-S-E-A-L. It's whichever way diesel fuel is not spelled. I believe it's D-Shall. D-Shall. Again, Irish speakers could certainly correct me. I certainly mean no offense because I can't speak Irish. I'm terrible with languages. More blues artsy than traditional. Do you happen to know any Brian Finnegan? You know what? I don't know a lot of Brian Finnegan tunes. I was in a fluke phase. I was like super into fluke for like 6 months. I got everything they had, just grinded it all the time, and then I kind of just dipped. I don't know why. That triple tonguing, that sort of stuff. I'm not good at it. It's not my thing. He's a legend and a pioneer, so he's awesome. It's just not my thing. Similarly, the very breathy flute styles, the very rhythmic, percussive, kind of that sort of sound. I'm trying to think like maybe Seamus Tansey or I can't think of a good example of it, but that's not my thing either. It's great. It's just not my thing. So I don't know a ton of Brian Finnegan stuff. Met him once or twice, I believe. Can you play an E minor tune called the Golden Stud? I don't think I know that one. I know the Golden Keyboard. Could do that one. That's an E minor. If you're doing shout outs, gonna have one fiddling with my Wilson. Yeah, man, I chatted with you like years ago. I saw your channel blew up. So well done, man. I don't think you need any more subs. I think you're doing just fine. And a really cool idea there, combining whistle and fiddle sheet music and stuff. So, well, good idea. Very cool. Let's see. Any recommendations of albums for classic tunes? Yes, now we're talking. All right, classic tunes. Somebody asked me recently my top 3 trad records, or favorite trad records, I think. And I posted, I mentioned Kitty Lie Over by Queven O'Reilly and Mick O'Brien. The trio of John McCartan, oh God, now I'm so terrible with McCartan, Sweeney and Sweeney McCartan, the one after. Oh God, I'm terrible with names. Who is that? Sweeney McCartan, What is that? Carlos Sweeney McCartan and Carlos Sweeney McCartan. That's right. They got 2 records out. Queven O'Brien and Mick O'Reilly, or Mick O'Brien have 2 records out. Those are great. And then I mentioned the Solace first record. I wouldn't necessarily say those are the greatest of all time. Those are just my favorite ones, because that's what the question was. Those are just packed full, the first 2 that I mentioned, they're just packed full, like really classic trad stuff. One that was really influential on me was the Green Linnet 20th anniversary record. It had a wide mix of stuff, super trad stuff, modern stuff. That really got me going. The big 3 bands that changed my direction of life were Solace, Dervish, and Old Blind Dogs. I was into Scottish music, still am, but at the time more so into Scottish music. And they had such a cool trad, but trad adjacent take on things that was really clever, and I loved all those guys. So hopefully that'll help. Also, if you're looking for just pure drop, great session stuff played well, there's the Cultus Records Fin Session, I think it's called. Individual tunes played well, and it's like a really good reference. It's like encyclopedia of tunes, which is awesome. Can you ever do that C roll you made with the C sharp roll? Yeah, this is one of my favorite stupid whistle tricks, which I may have learned from Brian Finnegan. Now that I say that, I think that's one of the things he was talking about when he was in town. And the whole point is you can't do a roll on C sharp because you have nothing to cut on above that. You can roll on B. Can't do anything there. You can tap, which works, but if you want to do a roll, you kind of have to fake it. And the roll is you take 3 fingers and you go. So it gives the effect of, if you can time it right. Not a whole lot of great options to use that. A major tunes would probably be the first one, but the only one I can think of off the top of my head is, God, my brain is just Swiss cheese. The fiddle player, Colin Farrell tune called Mouse in the Kitchen. It's, again, not one that comes up very often. There's just not a lot of places to work that in. But when you can, it's kind of cool. It's sort of like that the little trilly thing I do on B. Doesn't come up very often, but it's sort of fun if you can sort it out and makes people go, yo, what was that? Because it's weird and fun. What else we got? March of 1981. I don't think I know that. I'm afraid. If that's an Irish tune, that I don't know it. That doesn't really mean a whole lot because I'm terrible with names, so it could very well be me. Lunas, Keela. Yeah, Keela was one of the first like super modern bands that I found. Had no idea what I was getting into, and they're wicked. Yeah, they're very cool. Chieftain stuff. Yeah, the Chieftain 7. That was my first ever like serious trad record. In fact, the first tune I ever learned off was from that record. The O'Sullivan's March, which I can play in a second because it's just cool. Chieftain stuff is great. All of them are legends. The Bothy Band, they're another reason that I'm playing this music, and a lot of people are playing this music. They paved the way for a lot of folks. Awesome stuff. So I'm just gonna play that tune just for the hell of it. That is O'Sullivan's March, first tune I ever learned. And it was cool. The Chieftains played that tune really slow and very, very marchy and all that. And it was at a tempo that I could actually pick up, which was nice because I was listening to Solus and they'd be playing stuff at Mach 3. And I thought, no, I have no shot at that. But eventually you learn. What else we got? I think we can get there too. Yeah, cool. Yep. Yeah, check out let's see. Finn sessions. Yeah. Very cool stuff. I've started turning students onto those because they're just really good examples of like the classic session tunes that everybody's got to learn. Very cool. Golden Stud Reel. I don't know that one, I'm afraid. I'll have to sort that out. Gallagher's Frolics. Yeah, that one I can manage. I think that's one of those E minor tunes that I've been learning a bunch of recently. Let me figure out what that is. Apologies for shaking the camera, y'all. Certainly don't mean to. Gallagher's Frolics. Which one is that? Let's see what we got here. Checking sheet music. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's that one. I have been sitting in with a group at my local pub called McNamara's with the owner and his band, Sean McNamara. And he's got a bunch of tunes that are a bunch of songs in E minor that go into a jig and then into a reel and all that stuff. So I've had to brush up on my E minor tunes. Sadly, I didn't have a lot, but it's given me a good reason to. So here we go. Gallagher's Frolics. That's a wicked tune. Can't remember where I learned that one from. I guess it was just one of those session tunes that just sort of shows up, and you osmosis it. I don't remember ever sitting down to actually learn that one. Is Turlough Carolyn music considered trad Irish music? Yes, absolutely. He was one of the pioneers of the music. It's a bit different stuff than your bog standard jigs and reels, the waltzes and the planksties and all that. But you'll often hear those come up at sessions, like one or two a night. It's you've been playing fast stuff all night. It's like, oh, let's hear planksty whatever, and everybody play along with that. So very much so, hugely influential. Yeah, absolutely. Different time period than a lot of the tunes, but still rocking. Are you streaming through a webcam or any Sony cameras? No, I actually don't shoot Sony. I use Panasonic. That's my standard one. But no, this is just I got my Mac over here. I got my phone over here. I don't entirely know what I'm doing with this. Not sure if I'm going to commit the effort that other like real serious streamers do with the cameras and all the different rigs. I'm just using my old lighting rig that I do all my videos in, and my regular old computer. My giant camera is sitting over there getting a break after a lot of work yesterday. Windward makes fantastic flutes. Yes, they do. Somebody was asking about where you can get these, and I guess they're extremely difficult to come by here in the States now. I saw one on a flute auction site for like $3,300, which is a lot for a keyless flute of any kind. And I was planning on selling this and had a couple of folks interested. No, I'm not sure because the price seems to be going up. I definitely don't need it, which makes me feel a little bit bad because it doesn't get as much use. It did go to Ireland with me a couple of times, which was great. But for the most part, it sits in a nice little plastic climate-controlled box with a humidifier thing in it to keep it in good shape. Do I know Gene's Reel? Boy, I don't think I've ever even heard of that one, I'm afraid. Can I play August, our song August? Well, I could play the lick from it, I suppose. Excuse me, MacBook camera is way better than I thought. Yeah, it seems to be fine. This MacBook is like 3 years old, so it's not terrible. Don't leave anybody hanging here. I don't know how this works. I can't see. I've been learning Cinema for a couple of years. I've really only debunked a few. Yeah, cool. Stick with it. It just takes a while. Love the pipes. I used to play in pipes. For about 2 or 3 years, I got a practice set when I went to Ireland the first time in Killarney. I think it was a Killeen O'Brien, but I don't really remember. It was 1997 or so, the first time I went over. And then I got back to the States and I went to college at Iowa State University. And there's a phenomenal piper in Southern Iowa called Tim Britton, who's a pipe maker. And I went down to visit him and have tunes with him. And he took a look at my chanter and he says, oh, okay, he plugs it into his pipes and put maybe 2 notes through it. Goes, oh, no. Hey, took it apart, immediately put it on a lathe, spun it up and starts shaving wood off and re-drilling holes. And I was just freaking out because it's the only one I had. And he goes, no, don't worry about it. I got it. And sure enough, more in tune, more responsive. He did wonders for it. I then later bought a set of drones and regulators from him that he had reworked, not his stuff. He had some that he had acquired that he had reworked, and I put it on and played for a while. But they're just such a pain. They're a lot of maintenance, and I need a laptop. So I sold them on eBay or something and got a laptop. So no more pipes for me. One of these days, I'm sure my teeth will fall out and I'll need to take them back up again. But hopefully I get a little bit of time on that. Let's see. Gene's Reel August. Yeah. All right. So for those not in the know, which has got to be 99.9% of you who are watching this, we did a song called August about a year and a half ago. Did a whole video when we were in Ireland. It was really fun. It was mostly just a travelogue kind of video, but that's the lick. If you find my link tree thing, which is I'm sure in all of my accounts, got links to all of our stuff, the sternwheelers.bandcamp.com, and Spotify and Apple Music and all that other stuff too. But it's a song called August. It's a fun song. I really dig it. My buddy Patrick wrote that, and I wrote that little lick for it. What else we got here? OBS Studio is great for streaming. Yeah, I know there's all sorts of platforms. I should probably do something better, but I don't know if I can be bothered. Have I ever done a masterclass? Yeah, I've done a couple of workshops at various Irish music camps and stuff. I definitely do better teaching-wise. I definitely do better teaching folks who are already into the music. I'm not great at like proper beginners, and I'm probably a terrible teacher for those folks. So if any of y'all have taken beginner classes from me and had a terrible time, I apologize. It's me. I do a lot better with folks who already kind of know some tunes, and I can break down my thought process on why I do the stuff that I do. I'm better at that. So those are the kind of classes that I really enjoy doing, and hopefully I'll do some more of that in the next year. I'm going to try to. Swallowtail jig or reel. Let me know. There's a couple of those. Tried to contact the one to buy. Tried to contact Windward. Yeah, I've heard that from a couple of folks. I'm not sure what's going on. I've not chatted with them in a while. They were very kind to me, I will say. I did not get any sort of a deal. I bought this flute not from them. I bought it from the Irish Music Store in 2017 and just did a video on it because I liked it and I like making videos. And they reached out and they sent me this really cool travel case for it and like some of these cleaning supplies and oiling supplies that I'm going to get to when I oil the other flute. They've been really cool. They make fantastic stuff. I actually looked at getting a keyed flute from them, but their waiting list was a lot longer, and it's very difficult to get to where they are in Nova Scotia. It's like an 8-hour flight and then an 8-hour drive. And so I just thought, well, the guy I know, Jay Ham, is in Asheville and he does great work too. And he's just up the road. So that's why I did what I did. Anyway, Flute Center, New York. Yes, that's the one that I saw. That's the website that I saw. They had one or two that I noticed on their website maybe a couple of months ago, and very, very expensive. What else we got? Windward stopped shipping to the States. Yep, that's a bummer. Am I on another live? I'm on TikTok as well. Yes, I'm doing a couple. So a set of 3 Walsh drones. Yeah, the Walsh shuttle pipes. Yeah, the Walsh shuttle pipes are a lot of fun. I got mine like 10 or 15 years ago, and I was still playing pipes regularly. They're great for around the house because they will not deafen you. They're like chill. They're kind of fun to play. So I do really like those. I think you're the only other person in Maine who wears Sligo GA gear. I am not in Maine. I was born in Maine, up Sligo. Yes, indeed, up Sligo. I actually thought about wearing my Sligo GAA shirt today. I just did some videos yesterday with that. But I was born in Maine. My buddy Josh, who plays in the band, he's the baron player in our band. He got me a Maine Hearts of Pine shirt from Portland Hearts of Pine shirt. Soccer shirt, which was really cool. And I tend to get a lot of love on that one because there's probably not a lot of folks rocking that. But my dad's family was from Sligo. So first time I went over to Ireland, well, not the first time, but one of the more recent times I went over there a couple of years ago, popped up to Sligo, got myself a jersey. And then last year we spent, I think, 3 days in Sligo. Sligo is an awesome town. We are not, well, I won't speak for my band, but I am not nearly good looking enough to live in Sligo. Sligo is full of like really attractive people, at least in the summertime. It was jarring, I would say. Wicked music, super friendly, awesome people. Can't wait to go back. Love Sligo. Swallowtail jig. All right, so now I got to look up which one that is. Swallowtail jig. It's one I think I've done before, but let me see if I can find it. What is that? Let's see what we got here. Is that the right tune? That doesn't sound like the right tune. Is that it? If it is, I'm not sure. No, how's it go? Is that it? I think that's it anyway. At least that's a version of it. There's probably like 3 or 4 swallowtail jigs. There's a whole bunch of them. Can I play the 3-hole tin whistle? I've never heard of a 3-hole tin whistle unless you're talking about a tabor pipe, but I think that's something different. I have no idea what that is. I've got enough trouble with the instruments that I play. I don't think I need to branch out too far right now. Studied at the Crane School of Music, started Irish Music and Trade Group. Have you ever done an online masterclass? No, not really. I do have a Patreon where I go into a lot of deep dives on the lessons that I post online and other various esoteric nerdy things about flutes and ornamentation and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think I've ever done anything specific as a masterclass. I have a whole series of beginner lessons that I post online that seem to get a lot of love, which is cool. I'm sure that you've answered this question probably many times. What would be the next most useful whistle you'd recommend to obtain after the high D whistle? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Um, Number one, it depends on what sort of music you're playing. If it's Irish music, probably a low D. To be honest, I know that's not terribly adventurous because it's the same key, just an octave lower. But you really don't need much in the Irish music world outside of this. If you're playing along with anything else, it kind of depends on what it is that you're playing with. And I would say maybe if you find some songs that you like, maybe they play in C or G or other like guitar friendly keys or more common keys, I guess that might be a good option. As far as just coolness and enjoyment of the music and the instrument, the F whistle is the one that I would go with. Either an F or a B flat. They're both very mellow, fun to play, less shrill, which is a big win, I would say. But just a really fun thing to play. Now, if your goal is to go play at sessions, this does you zero good whatsoever. This just sit in the case because no one will be able to play along with you. But for your own enjoyment, man, this thing is just awesome. Just a really pleasant sound, I think. And you can play slow tunes, you can play fast tunes with it. It's not huge finger space. I do use finger Piper's grip on this F whistle. Um, you could get away with fingertips, I imagine, no problem. Just to each their own. Have I ever played an M&E flute? I believe so. I was at a session in Florida, Jacksonville, I think, maybe a year or two ago, and there were more awesome flutes than I think I'd ever seen in one spot. Everybody had really cool flutes. People bringing in like 3 or 4 different instruments, and I got to try a bunch of them. I'm pretty sure an M&E was one of them. I've lately been enamored with this Ruy Gomez flute, this Delrin flute. I'd never played a Delrin one before, at least not regularly, until I was down in Florida. And I was like, wow, these things are actually pretty decent. Never would have guessed that. And this one has been a lot of fun as sort of like a really cool practice tool. An Irish piccolo from Tony Dixon. I've only ever played a couple of Dixon things. I've got one of his tin whistles that's really nice. I have been asked many, many times about the Dixon low whistle flute combination thing. I guess you can get a interchangeable head joint. I've never tried it, but I almost pulled the trigger on it just before Christmas. I was going to buy one and just for the social. So I probably will in the new year. I'll add that to the list of videos that I'm going to make just because so many people have asked about it. My gut reaction is that it can't possibly be great because it's like $80 or $100 or something, and it's a chunk of plastic. But I've been wrong before, so who knows? We shall see. F for B flat will let you play along with trumpets. Good do. Very cool. Play along with bagpipes as well. Yeah, you want an F whistle. F whistles are awesome. Do you know anything about the Galeon flutes? Oh, I just played a Galeon. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. Fully keyed 3D printed flute. There was one on the Irish Flute store, and it sat there for 3 weeks or so. It was $800, $900, and I was just trying to see if I could justify effectively renting it, buying it for a while, doing some videos, trying it out, and then reselling it. And about the time I thought, I wonder if I should swing that, it was gone. And then 2 days later, I showed up at a session here in Nashville, and one of the flute students here bought it. So I was glad it went to somebody who's actually going to play it, and he let me give a blast on it. It was really cool. It felt weird. The key responsiveness felt weird. The flute material felt weird, but it sounded great. It sounded really nice, and it had all the same kind of digging in. That same sort of grindy digging in you can get out of really any good flute I could get out of that. I was amazed. And the keys worked. They just felt weird. So it would definitely take some getting used to, but I would imagine it's worth getting used to because it played really well. I've not tried the Galeon Delrin. I've never tried anything else from them. So my experience is sadly very, very limited, but it was cool. What do we got? I don't leave it all hanging here. Sorry. So the Hearts of Pine shirt. Yes, Hearts of Pine is yeah, that's my jam. I'm very glad to have that. I've gotten a lot of love on that one. Still trying to get away from fingertips. Keep still trying to get away from fingertip grip. It just takes some time. It's weird switching to Piper's grip. You get used to it if you want to. I guess you don't necessarily have to. McNeil is saying that. Okay. Yeah. I've not had great luck with McNeil stuff. The Wild Whistle is nice to me. It's a black version of the Lear, exactly the same as far as I can tell, which is good. The Lear's good. I played a fully keyed McNeil. I can't even remember if it was Blackwood or if it was plastic. It felt plastic either way. It felt big and clunky, and it was a lot of work to get decent passable tone on it. That's pretty limited experience. So there again, don't take my word for it. I would say they might make other models that work great. It might be me. Maybe I just couldn't make it work. I don't know. But I got through a couple of tunes and then I go, okay, cool. And then not for me. But to each their own. Rugo I bought mine 2 months ago. It was pretty different than yours. Yes, I've seen pictures of his new ones. This, for those of you who caught the video, you know this, but for those who didn't, Rui Gomez reached out to me. I want to say, I don't know how long ago that was, 6 months ago, something like that. And he said, could I send you a couple of things? I said, yeah, I'd be happy to check them out. He sent me a couple of whistles, an F whistle, which is awesome. And he sent me this flute, and he sent me one made out of PVC. And the PVC one, I couldn't really wrangle very well, but this one, I was blown away. It's flat. Part of that is because I have a very vertical embouchure, and I tend to make flutes flat. This one I can't get in tune, but it was a very early pre-production model, and he just wanted some feedback, and I was happy to give it to him, which was that it's like it never leaves my desk. It's always right here because I can pick it up and play and just jam out in between meetings or whatever, in between sending an email, something like that. It's great, and I don't have to worry about maintenance. It's just ready to go always. It's impervious to weather. And then I looked on his website recently after that kind of back and forth we had, and he's changed up the design, and I've heard other people have bought them, and they're great. So he's a really good option. Folks doing good stuff with Delrin these days. I have a G from Kerry. I've never played a Kerry whistle. Yeah, no, I take it back. I guess I was in a shop. I tried one time. They're loud. Great, but loud. When it comes to really like Safari. Yep. Piccolo head. Yeah, I've never tried a piccolo head. I'm not sure I'd want to. That might break my eardrums. If you play musical theater, you might find yourself needing a low C sharp whistle. Well, that's kind of what this is. I think this is about C sharp. I've played one C sharp whistle, not a low one. I played a high C sharp whistle for a band that I was on tour with briefly. Never had. There's a lot of C sharp uilleann pipes, which are kind of cool though. Ruby find his process. Interesting. Yeah, I knew he would have solved the problem. Also, the reason why I didn't make too big of a to-do about the intonation stuff, because I knew this was early proof of concept more than anything. I would love to get one of his like new ones now. I might just reach out to him and buy one from him because I'm curious about what he did cosmetically and just how it compares. I bet people would be interested in that sort of thing. Is it acceptable to play the concert flute at sessions? Absolutely. There's not a lot of people who do because it's just the sound is a bit different, and people who know more about concert flutes than I do could probably explain this better, but it just doesn't seem to respond the same way for most people. Joni Madden, of course, being the obvious exception. But you don't see a lot of them, but it certainly works. And the main thing is, if you know the tunes, you're going to be welcome. And that goes for most instruments. Now, like you roll up with a saxophone or a trumpet, people are probably going to look at you a little weird, but as long as you can acoustically blend in volume-wise, you can play probably whatever you want, as long as you know how to play the tunes. That's really what matters. Right, let's see what else. Okay, where am I here? Ferry Freeman. Oh, Jerry Freeman. Yeah, I have played a couple of the Freeman tweak whistles. They're really cool. He does magic with very cheap basic whistles and makes them really cool. If you push the Waltons in, could get to C sharp. Yeah, probably. So how's the guitar going? Not well. I got a new flute, so I kind of put all my time in that. But I never really expected to be a guitar player. Never really had any interest. I wanted to be able to like accompany my own tracks, and so I'm still sorting it out. Um, I've been doing a bit more piano lately for my solo record that's coming out, so I've kind of got back on that. All right, what am I missing here? Anything happening here? Does your hand play? Do your band play regularly? Yes, we play every Wednesday. We have a regular local like house bandy gig here at a place called McNamara's in Nashville, and then we tour. Get on the road whenever we can. We get over to Ireland about every year to do some gigs over there, and then festivals and various other things. We've got 3 or 4 St. Patrick's Day shows booked already, and then some stuff out past that. So hopefully more so in the future. We're trying to finish up a record and get out and tour and promote that as you do. We'll see. I hope so. All right, I want to play some tunes just because I'm tired of yapping here. All right, so speaking of the record, this is a tune that'll be on it. And I've been adding piano parts to that, which live will end in 4 minutes. That's interesting. Weird. I have captchas now on these things, I guess, to make sure you're still alive. That's like a wellness check, I guess. That's interesting. Anyway, that's a tune that I've been writing a bunch of piano parts for, which I thought about filming just for some behind the scenes video, but it would probably be maddening to actual musicians and certainly piano players because I have to kind of hit record and wait and go bong, bong, and then back it up, hit record, ding, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I know what I want to hear. And when I kind of figured out, like, oh, that's perfect. And then one note at a time. So it's tedious and brutal and might be funny to watch. I don't know. So what did I miss? Anything I missed? If I hear Spotify told me has 1% of Celtic music listeners. Word. I wonder where I rank. I got off Spotify and switched to Apple Music recently, but I wonder if I was in that top percent because there can't be that many people who do. Yeah, Solus is absolutely wicked. Jerry Freeman, flutes a lot of money, but not whistles. Well, you can kind of mass produce a whistle. You can machine make these and have them be pretty good. Very good. You can individually make them and not take a lot of time. The main thing with any kind of wooden flute is that there's a lot of time involved in getting the wood ready to be built. When I bought mine, it was a 2-year waiting list, which is pretty low, all things considered. And what happens then is the flute makers take a block of wood they've got that's already been seasoning and drying and acclimatizing for probably 6 months or a year, and they got to ream it out, get kind of the basic stuff shaped, And then they got to let it set for several more months, because otherwise, if you get right into it and you start doing more work and you start putting moisture into it, it's just going to crack. So there's sort of a natural time limit to building a flute, at least building one well. Then you add in the fact that flute makers are not doing a lot of this with computers and huge warehouses. They're doing it by hand, and it's just one guy a lot of the time, or one woman. I don't mean to just single out dudes, but it's just usually one person and their apprentice. So it's not like you got a team of people doing this. And it just takes a while because of that. And they're also in high demand. The flutes are. Are you mainly doing chords on the piano or some melodic stuff? Yeah, I'm doing melodic stuff. I'm trying to match the tune. I'm sort of playing what I would like to hear, I guess, if I were having somebody accompany me as best I can. And it's one of those things where I'm just accepting it as it's as good as it's going to get. Hope we get the parting glass when it's time to shut it down. Yeah, I can certainly sort that one out, I suppose. What time is it, by the way? Stuff I ought to do at some point here. Have you ever played the polymer flutes by Michael Connolly? No, I have not. This is the only polymer one I've ever tried. I'm a little new to that world. So I know there's a bunch of folks, Desi Siri and Copley and Begley. There's a bunch of people making really good stuff that I've not had the chance to try. Hopefully I will at some point. Where was it in Jacksonville? Maybe it was Gainesville. Jacksonville? No, it was Gainesville. I was staying in Jacksonville, popped over to Gainesville. I guess there's a pretty decent Irish music community in Gainesville, which is really cool. It was fun to see, and it was fun to meet some other folks who played. That was very cool. All right, so I've been harping about this, but I haven't really played this thing. Terribly sure how those two tunes go together, but sometimes you just kind of think, I don't know what I'm going to play next, and let's see what comes out. That's what we do. Can you play the piano? If so, can you now? Now it's where is it? How do I do this? It's right there. For TikTok people. No, it's not in the shot on TikTok. Sorry. It's over there by my computer, hooked into various things. So no, I can't play it now. And no, I can make noises. I have vague ideas of what chords are and that sort of stuff. But mostly I just hit play and like try like, let's try an open D here, and that works. And okay, now we're recording. So very, very piecemeal. It's taken me days to get through like half of a tune, and will take me forever. I like how the Rui Gomez flute sounds even rougher than the wooden ones. Yeah, it's got a surprising amount of tonal flexibility. Like, you can get very kind of soft, you get very soft sound, but you can really put an edge to it. You can kind of push it around a lot more than I was expecting out of these. I guess I don't know what I expected in the first place. I don't know what I was supposed to expect, but it wasn't this. I didn't expect to have that kind of flexibility. It was really cool. Do I ever see cajones at a session? Not around here. Every now and then, it's definitely come up. We get mostly Bowrons. That's about all there is to it. So I've been up in New York a couple of times. It shows up there. I go out to this really cool, massive session called Tune Junkie Weekend out in Knoxville, which is happening in February. Very cool. Worth going if y'all are in the area and into the music. I've had a cajon there a time or two. That one is just massive. You never know what you're going to get. Cilantro. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, y'all. All right. Well, I think I probably ought to grab some food. Thanks, y'all, for hanging with me. I'll have a bit of a parting glass here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. I think we're good. Okay. Sorry for shaking the camera. Have a blast on the parting glass. And then I'm going to oil my flute. And I don't mean that in a sexy way. I'm going to do that for real. Here we go. Cheers, y'all. Thanks for joining me. Maybe do this again sometime. Let me know if it's worth an hour of y'all's time. It was good to chat with y'all. See y'all next time. Thanks a million. Bye, y'all.